back-to-back victories across two very different types of circuits. Max Verstappen has done what many thought impossible, taking 25 points out of Piastri's championship lead and 19 out of Lando Norris's second place. And that win at Monza, it isn't looking like a lucky one-off, it's looking more and more like a possible turning point in this year's Drivers' Championship. With only 7 races left and the gap down to 69 points, the question is very clear. Can Max Verstappen, with a revitalised RB21 and a re-energised Red Bull team, actually begin to dream about a 5th consecutive drivers' title? A lot can change in Formula 1 in just 2 race weekends. One upgrade package, one breakthrough, and suddenly the entire championship picture looks different. That's exactly what we've seen with Red Bull. After slipping behind McLaren, Ferrari and even Mercedes since their domination in 2022 and 2023, the team finally looks reborn. At Monza, a revised floor, a deeper understanding of the RB21, they've unlocked new levels of performance. It's been the catalyst of Red Bull's resurgence, and it has people asking, can Max realistically now retain his title? But enough about me, I want to know your thoughts. Do you think a revitalised RB21 with Max Verstappen at the helm has a chance of securing a 5th consecutive world title? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a like, hype the video if you have the feature, and subscribe here on F1 Unraveled for more content. But what's Verstappen's view on it? Well, Verstappen himself isn't buying into the hype just yet. As he told Sky Sports F1, it is a lot. Basically, everything needs to go perfectly from my side and then a bit of luck from their side. But we've just seen that happen in Baku. There's been a major championship swing as far as I am concerned. And the biggest takeaway from Baku is it was quite simple. Monza wasn't a one-off. Early chatter suggested Red Bull's pace at the Italian Grand Prix was potentially track-specific, that the smooth, low-downforce nature of Monza played into their hands. But Baku has proved otherwise. As Marco put it himself, the trend is that it's not the same type of circuit and there's not that many similarities, and that they've struggled the last 2 years in Baku. And he's right. In 2024, Red Bull wasn't even close to the podium in Azerbaijan. Let fast forward to 25 and the RB21 showed pace across a completely different style of track. That's a clear sign the car has made a genuine step forward. And with that Monza upgrade package, it's clear it's transformed the RB21. And let's now actually dig into that Monza upgrade package that has people calling this a real turning point for this season and the RB21. First of all, let's begin with the rear wing and front wing upgrades for the low downforce circuits that we go to. Now, it's been Red Bull's MO that they never actually produced specific bespoke wings for these lower downforce circuits across a calendar, but for 25 they've made a change in approach to that. And they've produced front wings and rear wings specifically designed for that. We saw the debut of their low downforce rear wing in Monza, again making a re-emergence in Baku, and will do so similarly later on in Mexico, I believe, as well as more than likely in Las Vegas. This allows the team to have a much more complete low downforce package from which to optimize the car efficiently, rather than having a rear wing of medium downforce specification with cutouts in the upper elements of it. But the major change that has made such a huge difference across these previous 2 weekends is the floor upgrade which has been brought onto the RB21 in Monza. There is a revision not only to the floor edge but also underneath the floor to help, in a sense, stabilize the airflow and not have as much turbulence in and around the area. And it revolves a very visually striking but very simplistic change. With Red Bull's own technical leadership, most notably Pierre Roche, having said the new floor upgrade gave them a different direction for the setup, providing more options for balance and handling through upcoming tracks. The team now has more levers to pull, grip versus drag, downforce versus stability, depending on a circuit's characteristics. And as I said, these upgrades aren't just made for Monza, they're going to have the same effect at every sort of circuit that we have left on the calendar. And that's where the real test will begin. Can Red Bull at one of their bogey tracks such as Singapore in 2 races time actually get onto the podium, let alone win the race? Despite 67 career wins, Max Verstappen has never conquered the streets of Marina Bay. And that's not by accident. Singapore's unique blend of high downforce demands, relentless bumps and suffocating heat has always been one of Red Bull's kryptonite circuits. Just think back to 2023, the year of absolute dominance from Max Verstappen and his Red Bull team. This circuit was the only track Max Verstappen didn't sit on the podium, and there is definitely a particular reason for that. The characteristics of it never plays into what Red Bull designed with their Red Bull racing cars. And it's the perfect example of how the team's weaknesses get brutally exposed there. And it's exactly why Helmut Marko has called that upcoming race a litmus test. In other words, it's not only high downforce, it is bloody hot there, which our car doesn't seem to like so much. So it will be the next real benchmark for where we truly are. And he's right. If Red Bull's revitalized RB21 is dominant, or at least in the ballpark of getting a race victory in the hands of Verstappen, it clearly sets the stall out for what we can see for the remaining tracks in the 25 season. Red Bull and Verstappen will be there to win the races. And then suddenly a late title challenge for Verstappen feels more realistic. So in 2 weekends, Red Bull have gone from being written out as outsiders to suddenly standing on the edge of a potential title fight. Monza proved that with the RB21's upgrades were no fluke. Baku has confirmed that their new philosophy, which is listening more closely to Verstappen's setup calls and shifting their engineering approach, is finally paying off. Now, with 7 races to go and only a 69-point gap between Max and the McLaren, the door isn't wide open, but it's cracked, just enough to make things very interesting. Singapore will be the ultimate proving ground. If Red Bull can conquer the bumps, the heat and the high downforce demands that have haunted them there in the past, then maybe, just maybe, we have a title battle on our hand outside of the McLaren drivers. And let's be honest, that would be the most F1 thing ever. Just when you think the script has been written, Formula 1 rips it up and throws in a twist. But what do you think? Is Verstappen really back in the fight for the championship, or are these last 2 races just flashes of form that won't last? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll be reading through them all.